extend sympathies. We also would like to reach out to extend best wishes to Mr. François Barry, who's a patient at the hospital, Mr. Addison John Baptist in Salisbury, Mr. Winston Prosper in Salisbury, and best wishes to Aldi Foy as well as Salisbury. And those of you who have loved ones at home and abroad, we're not doing too well. On behalf of the United Workers' Party, we also want to extend best wishes to you and yours. As we always, coming from the leadership party, Dr. Thompson Fontaine, our leader, our vice leader, deputy leader, Mr. Clement Masler, our president, Mr. Lennox Linton, deputy president, Mrs. Francisca Joseph, and every other member of the United Workers' Party. We just want to extend sympathies and also extend best wishes to those of you who are not doing too well at home. We also want to ensure that you're doing better and the family continue to work with you, pray with you, and ensure that you have a speedy and full recovery. But tonight, as we always do on the Workers' Voice, to discuss the issues, pertinent issues. And tonight with me, we have two esteemed gentlemen, and we'll be discussing issues of national importance. And that's what we always do here. We educate, but we also learn from you, the audience, as well. So introduce with me from the Roseau Central Constituency, Mr. Susu Glenroy Coffee. Welcome to the microphones of Q95. Susu, I haven't seen you in a long time.
Oh, yes. From time to time, that is a good night to the listening public. And, it's not, the absence is not really, it doesn't mean that you are out of it.
Right.
The absence means that in our party, we have diversity and we have people, as we said, it's a party composed of people with diverse backgrounds. And each and every one of us, we play our part when duty is called. And so, from time to time, you'll hear me, but also there are other persons who can make valuable contributions as well. And so we do appreciate, when they can come, because sometimes it's really tight to, make yourself present. But I do listen, and sometimes you hear me call even if I'm not in studios.
Yes.
And so I'm happy about that. Let me say good night to Roseau Central constituents and the people of Dominica at large. Yes, earlier on I heard you talk about, death announcements and burial. And as you know, tomorrow Joseph Piper will be buried, Pinter, better otherwise known as Pinter, at the Roseau Chapel, Cathedral Chapel, at 3:00 p.m. So, we invite the general Roseau public to turn out to give Pinter his farewell. I mean, Pinter has been a patriotic brother. He believes he does and he believes in what he does. And I will tell you, that's one man, he stands up, for what he believes in, and no one will change that. And to his family, I say, let me just say sympathy is extended to you from the United Workers' Party and from my family as well. And let me just say, just hold strong, because the good Lord never give you more than you can take. Let me just say to the listening public again that, it's always a pleasure to be in studios. And, we do not have all the answers, as we have always said, and your participation is very important in making things happen. This program is about you and all of us, and of national importance. So your participation is highly anticipated, and we expect us to do it in a cordial way and a respectful way. So let me say good night to everyone. Roseau Central, I know you are here. To our leader, Honorable, Thompson Fontaine, a great man. And I've always said, and I'll say it again, Dominica is missing out a lot. When I see what we have in Dr. Thompson Fontaine, a man, a renowned economist who has helped restore, economic, prosperity in many of the jurisdictions around the world. And Dominica, we tend to want to bring down one of our own. One that people appreciate overseas, other governments, they value his contribution, and they welcome everything that he assists with others to bring economic prosperity. And in Dominica, we seem to want to bring down people. But no, Dr. Thompson is here. We are giving him our full support, and the Dominican people know he has the ability with his team to carry out the mandate that Dominica is required to bring us back to economic prosperity. So, Dr. Thompson, I want to say hats off to you and welcome. So,
all right, thank you very much, Glenroy, for Roseau.
Yes,
thank you so much, and Spags, very good evening to you as well. Thank you for the continued commitment to country. of course, in the interests of the United Workers' Party as well. Let me just say a very special good night to our many, many listeners and many supporters of the United Workers' Party. Many of our listeners and of our supporters are longing for that day when the United Workers' Party will again take the reins of office in this country. And when we can do things again for this country, we can, when money will meet in money, when schools will be opening up, agriculture will be booming again, and we'll really be looking after the interests of the people of Dominica. I mean, so for too long, the interests of the people of Dominica have been neglected. And the United Workers' Party, of course, is the party of choice, the party with the record. In 4.5 years, the record of accomplishment done by this party is bang on. And certainly, we are well poised to do it again. And I think the people of Dominica, long suffering, we just want to thank you for your patience and thank you for standing firm with us as well as we continue to look forward to that day. Let me say, of course, a very special good night to my people out there in Grand Fond, River Mont John, Montreal, Montfregard, and let me say congratulations as well to our constituency association. We had a very good meeting last night, and we saw a new executive being put in place. There's a lot of enthusiasm there, and really thank Augustus Luis retained the chairmanship, but some very good people. Congratulations to all of you. And I'm excited about the prospects. We have some great plans, great ideas going forward, and really excited about this. And of course, the big rally, the big meeting that we're having on Saturday, 7 o'clock in Grand Fond. And we want to encourage all of you to come out and to show your support, and let's discuss those issues that are confronting Dominica. And the issues are many. Of course, it all starts, of course, also and sparks with the bad governance. Yes. A lot of our problems we're having now is bad governance. When you talk about the mishandling of $7 to $8 billion that have just somehow disappeared, the inability to pay people on time.
That is correct.
Even the NAP program. I mean, Grand Fond is loaded with NAP workers, and some of them have not been paid on time, and so on. And just the fact that our public servants have not been able to get a wage increase in so long, even as inflation continues to bite into whatever little income that they are making. Just the general things are rough, really rough in this country, and a lot of it is self-inflicted. Is because we have tolerated a government that has not been good or true to the people of Dominica, and continues to make some serious errors, like we're hearing about the botanical gardens. There's heartless decisions that they continue to do. So tonight we are really looking forward to discussing some of those issues. The airport project and the impact it's having on this community. All of those issues. The crypto. We have not forgotten the crypto scandal. And all of those different messes that this government has in fact, found itself in, and this whole circus of an electoral reform. When other countries have done this without even a mention. They just do the right thing.
It wasn't a big issue.
It's not a big issue. They just do it because it's the right thing to do by the people. They do it, level playing field, and the best party wins.
Exactly.
But here in Dominica, we have to go through this whole long rigmarole. A point now, I'm hearing a special person, former Minister Darrow has been appointed specially to lead consultations. You don't need all of that. You really don't need that. I mean, it is so clear. Best practices are all over the Caribbean for us to see. Jamaica did it. Jamaica did it. The country most recently to do electoral reform was Jamaica. The level playing field.
That's correct.
And people come 10 years, 5 years, they're not satisfied. They change the government.
That's
another
all.
5, and those countries are moving. And to add insult to injury, man. I saw the prime minister. When I tell our people that this government does not care about the people. People say I'm just playing politics. So when you compare, I'm no big fan of Gaston Brown, but I saw Gaston Brown handling plantain chips.
Ah, boy.
Have you seen a plantain tree in Antigua?
No, I know I've not seen that.
So
Yeah.
all the plantains coming from Dominica
That's
have
correct.
been processed in Antigua,
Right,
and they were loading containers to send to Sweden.
right.
Antigua is exporting plantains to Sweden, and Dominica, we have the plantains, and we're not exporting to anywhere. But it shows the difference. Every it is the Prime Minister of Antigua personally getting involved,
Yes.
in that market to ensure that the market is there, to ensure that this is, the support is given to the people. And when you contrast that to how this government has dealt with our budding entrepreneurs, I know individuals, for example, Banis Farms is a good example,
That's right.
who have had a project for years, probably one of some of the best tasting chips anywhere on the globe, and he's not been given any support. Or the small manufacturers who have not gotten any kind of support from this government, and now our plantains are ending up in Sweden, except that we in Dominica, the farmers probably get 80 cents a pound. The Antiguans who are exporting to Sweden probably are making $8 a pound. That's all I'll say about that.
And what, just before you come in, just as you speak about planting and how excited Gaston Brown is with his little chips hanging up, and so much excitement because he knows well his country doesn't produce plantain, but yet he's able to these countries able to add value to that chip. But what I remembered clearly, vividly, Thompson. Honorable Leader, just some time ago when the airport project, they made pronouncements of the airport project. I remember they didn't compensate a guy who had about 3 acres of planting. And 3 acres of planting would mean about 2,000 plants, right? Now, they come and just bulldoze that without compensation, yeah? So what you bulldoze? I'm going to put it in mathematical form for you. So you bulldoze 2,000 plantains, mature plantains, they were mature already, they were bearing plants, and planting on the southeast and the east and the northeast, heavy plantain, you weigh between 80 and 100 pounds. But just to be conservative, we're talking about 80 pounds. So 80 bunches of plantain by 80 pounds, that's 160,000 pounds. And you could just go minimum price of $1.
Yeah.
So you bulldoze $160,000 worth of plantain, right? So that is what Gaston Brown wishes that he had now. Could purchase 160,000 worth of plantain to continue his value added. So when we disappreciate things here, other countries appreciate.
Yes,
so that's one thing.
Yes.
But okay, go ahead, Spark.
Yes, I was just wanted to remind people that let's do this small intro that we listen to the workers' voice. In studios with me is Dr. Thompson Fountain, our political leader, and Mr. Glenroy Soso from the Roseau Central constituency. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, I had the opportunity just a few minutes ago to go to the UE Center, where there is a post-budget youth panel discussion organized by the National Youth Council. As a former former chairman of the National Youth Council, and also a former member of parliament, I went there. And I was very disappointed in terms of, they had just started, but you're going to have the panelists is a very good panel in terms of the people going to, they have to discuss the different issues. Very diverse young people, and I commend them for that effort. But no young person was there.
Oh my goodness! I mean, the support.
Not only that, you only had parliamentarian or former parliamentarian on the opposition. The Senator Parish was there. You had myself, Clement Masler, Mr. Daniel Lugi, and Mr. Lennox Linton present, and maybe 2 other senior individuals. And no young person, even though they listen via following via Facebook page or whatever. I was expecting to see the whole chat full up, and it raised a question: what our young people are interested in. It was organized. It was not by any parliamentarian or politician. It was organized by the National Youth Council for young people. And let us look at aspects of the budget that are going to create employment opportunities for us, or if part of it was not good or whatnot. But they're going to have a panel discussion where young people can participate. I know some following online, but I'm saying I was expecting there to be a small
contingent, at least a contingent of youth.
No, it's a small auditorium. I was expecting it to be full of with young people from Dominica. And that is a concern that we have. How do we get our young people engaged in issues of national importance? Also, my disappointment as well, the government side has a lot of young politicians, very young green politicians who were not there. And some of they below they fall in the age of youth, in the range 15 to 35.
Yes, but and this fact, I had the opportunity to listen to our honorable leader give a perspective on the past budget, which was, on the 25th of July, which was, read by the Minister for Finance and presented and so. And obviously, I am not surprised that we do not have youth participating at that level, because it's like a roadmap to nowhere. The 50% unemployment of youth, they know of that figure. They have not seen any pathway with respect to restoring that or trying to having an attempt to bring that down. And when you have a government who tells you that their budget is framed as resetting to ensure the judicious, hear the word, the judicious use of government's limited resources. Judicious. I looked up the word judicious. You know what that means? Judicious means wise. It means prudent, right? It means sensible. It means sound. And it means clever. So what you're telling me now, in 2023 to 2024, all along, you had unsound budget, unwise budget, your budgets were not clever, and now you're coming to present something that has a roadmap to nowhere, not even encouraging and enticing youth to participate, because you've seen no value and nothing going to address their issues, the social and economic issues that they face. But no, let me get that point. Yeah. And so the Minister for Finance, who presented that budget, continued and make excuses for why they should reset. And before that, the excuses were Hurricane Maria and Tropical Storm Erica. They even go on the pandemic. And as far as the recent war between Russia and Ukraine came up, Mr. Minister of Finance, you forgot an aspect which caused us to be in that dilemma we are in, that financial quagmire we are in. Why the government is unable to pay even now NEP workers. You forget one, the tsunami of corruption that is taking place, the inefficiencies, and you are talking about the wastage. So these are the three areas I believe are human-made, and that is responsible for your government not able to perform. So yes, we have had Tropical Storm Erica. Yes, we have had Hurricane Maria. Yes, we experienced COVID like the world did. Yes, the Ukraine war is ongoing. But had we put things in place and put the enabling environment right and put the necessary instrument in place to recover the necessary growth sectors, we would not have been in a position like that. So you forgot one thing to explain to the Dominican people: the tsunami of corruption that is going on right now, the wastage and the inefficiency of your government. That is where we have to take it.
Yeah, I'm with you, so. But I just want to, before we get into that aspect of it, I just want us to really, as politicians, as leaders, where we like to see our country move forward, and how do we bring our young people along. It is disheartening for you to have such a discussion going on among young people, and you don't have young people even coming there to show dissent in terms of the disapproval of the budget and the concerns that they have. How do we get our young people to sit down and participate in this type of constructive dialogue that is about their own personal growth? And that is my concern that I had, just going in there, sit down, observing. You had a very well diverse esteemed panel of young people ready. They did their research and ready to deliver, and they didn't have that audience in there to cheer them on. Maybe they had them on Zoom or wherever, but they were not in the physical space to cheer them on, and that is the concern that I have. But as we continue the discussion, it started on all the budget, and I think we can move on from there. But I just wanted to bring that as part of the discussion. As leaders, we have to think of ways and means to get our young people involved in this type of dialogue.
Yes, and Sparks, it's a good point to raise as well, because we have to be concerned with the condition of our young people. I mean, when you think about the, as you said, the disinterest in what should really be in an interest to them, because at the end of the day, understanding what is good governance, understanding the way government works, and making the right decisions are critical to them. You know, for example, we had some young students, I believe, from university overseas who came to vote in 2019, and then they came, you know, they had money then to come, and their tuition was not paid, you know. So this thing about the young people in Dominica understanding what is happening to them, understanding that they've been shafted, understanding that they're receiving the short end of the stick by this government is something that, but they have to open their eyes, they have to be aware of what is going on. And I'm really, you know, really worried about the fact that they will not even participate in events like this, you know, and show the interest. I mean, during my time, you could hardly find those things for students not to be involved and
Right.
participating and debating. And even the programs, even the calling programs, you don't really hear young people calling to ask a question or to challenge you on something. You know, what is going on for young people?
No, and it's very interesting, and I just love the way you present it, because you know it's interesting that you brought it up. And I will say people do things differently, different approaches. You do things in different approaches. I know for sure for government in terms of, I know you're looking for recommendations, what we believe can happen. I believe you consult with people. Now, the mere fact that the youth now is trying to get at least to discuss the budget shows one thing: they were left out pre-budget discussion, which means that they should have had their say with respect to really think they want things to happen, and the government now should put a proper allocation with respect to that for them. Good. So yeah, I've said before that, and I like how our honorable leader put it, because people have to take interest in what they believe interests them. And to me, that lack of interest by youth tells a lot of things. When I was in high school, every summer as an agricultural student, all of our agricultural students were placed at different areas in terms of the institution, different
Job
organization, job attachment, which means that gives us an exposure to at least have first and practical, you know, at least interventions, and to have people who are experienced to be under their guidance, to train us and to expose us to different fields of work. And at the end of the exercise, we would have written up a report and present it. Probably it could have gone as far as our SBA. So that's the kind of interest, the school-based assessment they're talking about at that time. So we were all excited when summer comes, not to be idle students, but students who are engaged in real work. And that is why after I left high school, I was able to be placed, when I applied to work at the banana company, I was able to get a place right here because first and foremost, that was my interest, agriculture, and other students who worked at the bank and various areas, they were able to get fit and to get things. So therefore, you had been working in the financial sector, in the agricultural sector, people work in all different areas and had exposure. Now, when you are exposed at that level, that can only encourage you to become a better person and want to do things for your country. Today, we have what they call an NEP. And Spags, we have made countless proposals with respect to how we want to see youth move forward. In fact, the United Workers' Party, by the way, is the only party who has presented what they call a youth manifesto. And in that youth manifesto, I cannot even remember quarter of what was outlined, but so many good things were outlined with respect to how we would like to see youth empowerment and how youth is being directed in this economy and how they are able to participate effectively and to bring about transformation in the economy. Because remember, you're talking about youth. When you are youthful, a wealth of a nation is its health. When people are young and they are energetic, they are gigantic, they're ready to move, they have that energy. You have to give them guidance. You have to incentivize the respective sectors so that youth can get everything. Right now, with that cutting of flowers by the road, can you incentivize people by cutting flowers? Where is the upward mobility in cutting flowers by the road? But guess what? I'm not criticizing NEP workers. I'm saying there are people, of course, who have to cut the grass and the flowers at the roadside. But everybody cannot be doing the same thing. And so youth, they have lost hope because there's no foundation set for them right now. There's nothing tangible that youth can do. There's nothing that youth can say, look at it right now. Honorable leader just said it. Even to get a higher education, to at least increase their level at academic level, they have been suppressed because the government is not actually paying their fees. And this again is a disincentive for them.
Let me just add to the discussion. Do you know that the budget for the youth division to do projects for the young people,
right,
and modules,
right,
moved from 1.7 million to $300,000?
I read that.
You know, and that it shows you the interest that the government has in the young people.
That is correct.
Yeah.
You had youth skills training program.
Right.
When I was part of the National Youth Council, you had youth skills training program all over the island.
That's correct.
For young people,
right,
different modules in empowering them. When I look at the banana industry as well, just to add, as you were saying, every summer I would have 4 students from the state college. It used to be the Clifton Deputy Technical Wing. They were doing agriculture, coming to DBMC, and they were under my supervision.
Right.
So that is what we had, and that's where you had youth empowerment. You don't have that anymore. Then you had, as you were saying, the youth skills training in different communities. They would have attachment with other local, maybe it's aqua welding you're doing, or joinery, or masonry, but you don't have that anymore. And I think that is where we have to begin to bring back the interest in young people. When young people leave school, as I said, so strict to cutting grass. But before you used to go, even while you're in high school, second form, fourth form, you get attachment, work attachment, what they call it, summer job. Ask about the different business places.
Yes.
And what is wrong? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
You know, I just wanted to add, and I wanted to stay a little bit on that conversation, because that's very important. Because what you find is that a lot of the times, a lot of misinformation goes out, and a lot of, so they accuse the United Workers' Party, for example, of wanting to take away the NAP program.
Yeah. Right.
So they say, okay, you have that little job and you just want to take it away.
Yes.
That could not be further from the truth. Yeah. What we want to do is to make it better. So I keep telling, especially the people in Grand, the young people in Grand Forks that I see on the roadside, it is good that they work on the roadside, but for me, my preference for you would be that money, instead of putting that to that, would be to, why not get a little factory?
That's right.
That can benefit you. So now you go to work in the morning in the factory. To one, you will make a lot more money, but at the same time, you're supporting the other people in the village.
That's correct.
Because now they'll be able to go out and do their little farming.
That's correct.
And they'll be able to get their juices processed, or whether it is dashing chips or plantain chips, whatever it is.
That's right.
Doing. That would be my preference.
Right.
Or preference for the party, for our party.
Yes.
The Workers' Party would prefer to do that,
rather
than just telling you look a $300 or $500 a month to go and work on the other side. Because with that $300, $500, you cannot do anything with it. Whereas if you have a sustainable job in a factory, where you're probably you just came from school, you can do the accounting, you're probably the accountant, you're probably a marketing officer, you're probably a sales officer, and you have progress, you can, improve, you can get promotion and so on. You can now go to the bank and say, hey,
that's right.
This job, I have my thing, and
but
that is where you want to get it to.
But that is what I'm saying. And let me just give you a quick example, and just to add to that discussion, and it's very important that we do that, young people. NEP started in 2014, so you're going to have 9 years. I worked in the BMC for 16 years. By my 4th year, I purchased my land.
You see?
That's right.
By my 11th year, I built my house.
That's
correct.
correct.
Right. Now you have young people 9 years in NAP.
Yeah.
And they can't even buy a washing machine for themselves because they can't take a loan.
Right. Right.
They do not have permanent employment.
Right.
So they cannot go to a bank and say, look, I have permanent employment with the government under NAP. So there, so you have lost close to 9 years that you can invest in yourself.
Exactly.
And that is a challenge that we have for young people. So now you have people who have all listen, in that time, your working energy or your working time. To give back to the state and work hard to empower yourself. But by the time you're reaching 40, you have nothing.
But here's some of the things that we could have done with using the digital platform to encourage you, because all of them they're like gadgets, and you have to get them involved in that. And if you're talking about the digital economy, maybe sometimes that would interest them. Look at, for instance, you've been talking a lot about the roads in Salisbury, the bad condition of the roads, and in many other areas. You could have had youth given portable instrument, portable GPS equipment. They go out under the guidance of people who train them, and they take data. They could record data. They could also go on farms and record production data for farmers. Get them involved in record keeping for farmers. Because you know for sure a lot of farmers are unable to do record keeping, and some of their family members are so busy and probably will not able to do it for them at the time they want to do it. So if they have their record book, somebody develop a record book, have it in a safe place on their farms. So when you engage the youth to go on their farm, they would actually insert the record of the farmer's sale and everything that he does on the farm. You could also get young people to walk the national trail and to actually record the coordinates of the trail. Get them interested in the 7 segments. So you occupy them and you get data over time, because over time you may want to change and divert a route because sometimes it is threatened by landslides. So if you have those data there available, then you know where that bad and where that needs this sort of improvement. So you could get young people involved in training them in digital gadgets like a simple GPS equipment. Yeah. We used to do that before at the DBMC.
Smart agriculture.
But we used to do it. Yeah. Thompson, I mean, all farmers farm. I mean, come on. We used to have that. Yeah, of course. We got trained. Yeah. Some guys came from the European Union. In fact, that's what the U.W.P government did at the time. It wasn't about just requesting money. You have to request some of them technical expertise. Yeah. And you can live it, and so it can be sustainable. And that is some of the things that we're doing, registering farmers' farms. So when you look at 0.1 or 1.2, you know that's Glen Coffee's farm. Mm-hmm. You know, we take records and put it there. So these are some of the things that they could have got involved, not just paying a bill. And when you hear them talk about the digital economy, you're not talking about paying a bill, going online and pay a bill. We don't hear about that. We want to hear about proper forecasting systems to get to probably automate let's say irrigation systems, so you can stay right at your home and do what you have to do. You have what they call now even digital drones that could go and record certain areas. Well, we don't have much remote areas in Dominica for that, but you could have young people engaged in the forestry division, walk the forest and take records of bad trees and see how many trees you need to cut down or buffer an area, and know we are going to do a 2 mile of replanting of the forest. Get them involved. Young people will have loved that, but it's only a United Workers' Party team that can think of those kind of things to do.
Because the thing about the current NEP is that you don't have to think. You just say, okay, go cut that grass.
And how high you cut the grass?
Go cut the grass. So there is no thought to it. There is no thinking. But
and the sad thing is that you have children, young people who completed their college education.
Yes, of course.
And it's not, as we're saying, we're not bashing in, but where is the natural progression? Where you have them growing and moving to the next level in terms of getting into permanent employment.
Yes.
And these are the challenges that we have. So you have all the blocks and the ghettos and the unemployed youths. Where idle hands there was workshops. And these are the things you look at in different communities. And I say sometimes I am very boastful about my community. You go to Salisbury about 10 in the morning and you'll not get a young man on the road.
No. In fact, I was there on Tuesday morning. I went to
you hardly get a young man on the road. When you go to different communities, you meet some young boys 24/7 to sit down, smoking, eating, and that's it. And you don't want that.
I think the important thing for our listeners to know is that the United Workers' Party approaches the youth unemployment issue very differently from this government. We approach it from the point of view that we want our young people to be prosperous. We want our young people to make money. We want our young people to become the middle class. We want them to be like you, Spat, and after 4 years, get a piece of land. After 6 years, 7 years, build a house, that they have something that they can be proud of, that they can pass on to their children. That idea of gaining wealth, the idea of being able to, have something tangible
that is correct,
that you can point to and feel, yes, you build that yourself, that is your sweat, that sense of worth. That's how we approach this issue of youth unemployment. Not like this present government. No. So we are not just going to want to end the NEP. We want to do it in a way that, the young people get opportunity to make wealth, earn a decent wage that they can do things, they can take a little holiday. I gave a young lady a ride yesterday and she was telling me, man, she, I'm not going to call her name so you wouldn't know who I'm talking about. She said, she went to the embassy and then they asked her 2 questions. They tell the person doing the interview, tell her, you mean you're 43 years, you've never traveled anywhere? And she says, no. She said, okay, Here's your visa.
Here's your visa.
Because he felt that after 43 years of
You haven't
working,
got any-
you worked
you
all
worked
these
enough.
years
You
you
should-
worked all these years in Dominican,
You
you
deserve a
never travel,
holiday.
you deserve it. Yeah, go, take a holiday. So no, I'm saying that so
Yeah.
back to make the point that
Yeah.
that's what you want to do when you're working.
Value
I mean, for
your time.
our poor young people who've been working for 9 years, how many of them have been able to take a holiday?
Correct.
And the reason why they've not been able to do that, yes, they're working, yes, they're making like 500 a month, but it's not enough for the quality of life.
Yeah.
And that is the difference between a Labour Party government and a U.W.P government.
Because another thing we looked at, United Workers Party always look at the rural economy.
Right.
The rural economy more or less is more or less driven by agriculture. You can't take it away from. And it shows what we had during the banana era. And even though we transition, you have to look for another the cash crop. What is the one of the next cash crop? You had back in the day we had limes, we had cocoa, we had
Coffee.
we had cane,
Vanilla.
We came into banana.
Limes.
Right. Remember the limes.
Yes.
And now, what do we have? We don't have a cash crop. So but now the market is open for medicinal marijuana. Instead of doing that, getting that license for young people to ensure that they can sell, do the proper legislation. Instead, we give them to the opportunity of we went to Parliament to give them the license to smoke their lives away. You can carry 28 ounces of ganja on you right now, and young boys in high school, 12-year-old smoking.
And fact, it is real. If one came to the conclusion that we are regressing, that person has a reason to say so. And I'm going to tell you why. 2 quick examples. I was able to read part of St. Lucia. In fact, I read the St. Lucia's budget presentation they did on the 25th of April this year by U.W.P, Prime Minister. And some of the things that I saw in what they are presenting with St. Lucian people are some of the things that had already been 22 years ago on the United Workers Party. We think. Look, you saw a break on housing materials. That was a 22 years ago vision.
23 years ago.
23 years
Yes,
ago.
I saw that.
23 years ago vision of the United Workers Party.
1999.
They are now striving to go into aquaponics and say hydroponics. Again, we are doing prawn farming in Dominica.
Right.
Where is the prawn farming? So we're actually regressing. And if now, St. Lucia could have had that vision now. And 22 years ago, the United Workers Party initiated that. You know what a great Dominica would have been now?
24 years ago.
24 years ago.
Yeah.
And all now, but I'm saying, Dominicans, you still, while you have been blamed for making a mistake, I think you can undo what you did. You have your hands to undo what you did. The United Workers Party needs a chance to govern. We are saying to you that we have men and women who are capable of transforming this economy. It is not going to be easy. We need each and every one to put his hands to the wheel and turn Dominica into the once productive Dominica it used to be. And we are calling on you right now. Enough is enough of wastage. Enough is enough of that tidal wave of corruption. And enough is enough of that inefficiency of this government.
Yes, you're listening to the Workers' Voice. In studios with me is Mr. Glenroy Coffey from the Roseau Central constituency. You have, and also with me, political leader Dr. Thompson Fountain from the Grand from Monjon Freya River Civic constituency. And we're discussing issues of national importance. We started off on what is happening at the National Youth Council past budget youth panel, post-budget youth panel discussion.
You've got Pokui.
Yeah, organized by the National Youth Council and where we are. And we raised some very serious points there. We want to open the lines for you to make a contribution. In a while, 449 3095, 449 3096, 449 3097, 305 432 9624, 305 432 9624. And if you're following us on Facebook, on Q95 FM radio, you can also make a contribution there as well in the comment box. And those of you also following on YouTube, welcome to make a contribution. And if you want to do it via WhatsApp, you can WhatsApp at 767 265 4334, 265 4334. Gentlemen, in terms of where our country is right now, there are some things that electoral reform. is something that we should never push on the back burner, and we cannot push on the back burner. The United Workers' Party have been very much involved in pushing for electoral reform. The drive we started in 2005. We also have other interest groups, political groups, and other pressure groups, individuals as well, getting involved in that discussion. Last week had a discussion, panel discussion on the 3rd, organized by the Business Forum. We're hearing that the government going to start one very soon. But as a party where we are on electoral reform, Dr. Fountain or Coffee, is anyone of you want to take the lead? Where we are and what are we doing? Why the 23rd of this month is very important in all that in scheme of things. Dr. Fountain.
Yeah, Sparks, I'm glad we're talking about electoral reform, and for a very simple reason. I mean, that is where it starts. We are talking about a level playing field. We are where we are in Dominica. And let's be very clear. Let's be very blunt about this. We are where we are in Dominica today because the last 2 election cycles were simply stolen from the United Workers' Party. All right. That is something that is well known. We've spoken about it. And we know it because we were not able to compete. Not the elections not the sham elections, but the 2019 and 2014 elections at the very least. Going back even to 2009. We have not had a level playing field. So as a party, we've been going into those past elections effectively losing, not because we don't have the popular support, not because we don't have the support of the majority of people who live within Dominica, but because the winning legacy of this administration has been to bring in a number of people at the disadvantage of the United Workers' Party in targeted constituencies and so get the vote. And electoral reform is supposed to right all of those wrongs. It's supposed to straighten that up.
That's correct.
Actually, and because of that, we need to get that change. And so it's not just something we are repeating because we want to repeat it. It boils to the heart of it. And the issues we talked about, the issues of governance, we talked about the NAP program, for example, the approach of this government. So just tell our young people, allez couper zeb. Allez couper zeb. C'est ça qui casse. That's what you deserve.
No,
you've been all of these years of college.
That's correct.
And your government is telling you that the best thing they can offer you is to allez couper
zeb. Allez couper zeb.
Allez couper zeb. So, but we are there because of the crookedness of this thing.
That's correct.
Same Koshi I'm talking about.
That's correct.
Because we've not had the electoral reform. And so that's why it is very important. Because people think, well, we're just talking. But at the end of the day, it impacts you.
Right.
Yeah, you're this young person that we're talking to tonight. It impacts your life.
Right.
The difference between you probably having a nice little office job, probably a marketing agent or computer expert, an IT expert, and cutting grass, having to take the rain and everything else that goes with it on the roadside, because they're not even slowing down, which I was guilty of today. I was late and I was driving so fast through. I was even worried, driving so quickly, and the people there decided were working.
That's correct.
And even worried about being hit by vehicles and all the rest of it. Having that and having the option that we would have offered is because we've not been given a chance because of the crooked system that we've had to face.
Yes.
And no matter our best efforts, we have a better plan. We have better people. We have more mature people. We have more experienced people within the party. We have people who can offer their services, who have, and we have the track record to go with it.
That's correct.
In spite of all of that, we've not been able to win. So that is why we have to correct.
Yes.
And that is also the reason why, MACU, we haven't going through this whole Jew boom and this whole...
That is correct.
This whole, circus and dance and all the rest of it that this government is doing.
Yes.
Consultations by there, Sir Byron by over there, and so on. When all they had to do was just the issues that were vexing, just fix it.
Let's fix it.
The residency issue, you fix that. Access to the radio station, you fix it. The issue of the voter ID card, you fix it so that people, and we have case after case of people who've come and voted in those elections who do not belong in there. I know of people who've been confronted and say, well, do you know this person? Well, I know I went to school with that person. That is not you.
That is not you.
That is not you.
Sapao.
Sapao. Moi connaître mon c'est Brian. Moi
Yeah.
à l'école Sapao.
What call that family?
You know?
Who live at a bo family?
You're right. And so to fix that, because that means so much to so many different things. It means the future of our young people.
That's right.
It means the difference between a young person being able to go to the bank, have his own apartment, build it as he wants to, or being stuck in an apartment that is backed up.
Yes.
You know, that is the bottom line. That's what it boils down to. It boils down to somebody being broke on the second day of the month, as against you have money throughout. Let's say take a little holiday, probably even have your mom, accompany you, take your mom for holiday, a young man take his girlfriend to have a nice meal or something. Those things that makes your life more enjoyable, that makes life more worth living. All of that is impacted by what we do with our electoral process.
Yes.
And that is the reason why we are spending so much time on this.
That's correct.
That's the reason why we need to get this right. Because if we get this right, we get a government that will care about you. Because if you have electoral reform, as a government, you're not going to mess around. You're not going to offer me to Aniali Kupezeb.
No.
I will tell you stick it.
Stick it.
And keep your Kupezeb thing. I'm going to go for a government that will give me something else.
That's right.
And that is what this government knows. They knows that if they give those people, if they give every Dominican this option, they're not going to vote for them because they'll vote for the better option. Because if you have two people offering you, one is offering you $500 a month to go in the rain, taking all of this hassle every day for $500, and so saying, well, I can give you a good paying job, probably a factory job, probably a manufacturing job, probably a little consultancy that will pay you $2,000 grand.
That's right.
That you can do what you want to do. Who are you going to choose? It's a no-brainer, right?
No, but But Doc, if what you're saying is important, that but a lot of our young people are vote trapped. Vote trapped meaning that they took the livelihood from them and give them
right. Yes.
Right. Another thing as well, vote trapped in by giving them apartments without employment. So and without what they call it, shorter titles. So they are vote trapped. So a lot of them are afraid to speak. A lot of them are afraid to voice their opinion.
Right, but I'm saying that they're all there because of the lack of electoral reform.
That's correct.
Right.
You see?
That's why I come back.
So that's where it started. Because we did not have the electoral reform. We don't have the level playing field.
That is correct.
Right.
So those voters could not even make those choices.
And I like that point because, and by the way, I just admire the way we bring it down to the layman's language, because oftentimes people meet me with the ordinary guys and they say, so you know what, boy, the nice little tunes, we understanding that nice. So I like, Doc, you did that perfect tonight. I will just add and I'll say, look, we have been saying it before, that one of the main pillars of our democracy is elections, electing people, right? That is voting. That is a key. And we've said before, all of us know that when you are participating in the electoral process, you want a government that is not going to be influenced by anyone outside, not an individual, nor a group, nor an organization. You want to make sure that when you elect a government, nobody single-handle the government and say, do that, because of the interest that they put in election. So we are saying that we believe that you have a tree, and without a stem, there is no tree. So that's what it is. And without roots, that tree will not grow. So here we are. I was looking at the recurrent expenditure with the estimates that were presented. The estimates that were presented by the Minister for Finance in our budget day. And under the Prime Minister's allocation, somebody will have to tell me what is so important in the Prime Minister's office that an allocation for recurrent expenditure has to get the amount of $10.1 million. An electoral reform, or just elections, it is general, they have not itemized it, I agree. It would be interesting to see how they're going to itemize it. It says 1.9 million. Now, when you look at certain areas, like, let me put my glass, I can remember everything. Small business, 2.1 million. Audit department, 1.1. The legislature, 1.2. When you take the office of the president, which is 1.1, you take the integrity in public office, you take the Public and Police Service Commission, you take the legislature, you take the audit department, you take election, you take small business, and half of the cabinet allocation, that still in combination cannot make the allocation of the prime minister.
Prime Minister's
Office. What $10.1 million doing in the prime minister's office? And that is why we are saying, if Dominicans elect a government of their choice, given the fact that we have a level playing field, the environment is ripe, so that you know that for sure, everything is in, no one has influence on the election. You have electoral reform, as we just pointed out, cleaning the voters list, the basic ID cards, make sure that people who want to register in Dominica, and to do everything, people will agree that they get the government that they deserve. And so that will restore hope, that will restore faith, that will restore confidence, and that will also give the people a hope to participate. And here what is important, knowing that people do not have, because they have hijacked their social standings, as you rightly said, the government have control. But what is interesting about that, the people still have the power. The power is still vested in the people. So I don't see why you should let your power that you have be less meaningful to somebody trying to control you. You should use your power to control them. So as Doc said, if you are not satisfied, then we can say, go about your business. So I will say, let the wind blow. This government have to go for Dominica to grow. Let the wind blow. You need the United Workers' Party to put in these kind of programs and to get the incentives right in the various sectors so that you, the young people, get employment opportunities. Let the wind blow, because when that wind will blow, Dominicans will find an alternative government of their choice, a government that they want to work with and to put their shoulders to the wheel to assist to develop this country. And so, Dominicans, with all of what we are saying, I know it's your time to participate. That's why we're going to take the calls. But I'm saying, Dominicans, we have been talking over and over and over again. This government is defiant in not bringing meaningful electoral reform to you. At the end of the exercise, you must determine what kind of Dominica you want. And you have to make everything possible. We have never preached violence to you. We have never said do X, Y, and Z. We are asking to participate in the consultation and make your voices be heard with respect to what we have been outlining for your own interests. You must let the government know that you're talking about campaign reform, campaign financing reform. We must make the government know it's just to register people in Dominica. You must let the government know it's to cleanse the voters list. And you must let the government know you need your voter ID card. So in every consultation that you go, you must be ready to articulate your views in those basic terms and let the government know that you're ready for these things so that you can acknowledge your government that you have elected. That will give you a test to participate. When the government can call an election and you do not participate in parties for a while, and you only get what, 29? What was the percentage?
Yeah, it's not about 40%.
Man,
70%.
Man, that tells you something that's a vote of no confidence in a government. Yeah. When 70+% of persons had not participated, that is a resounding song of what they call a no confidence in a government.
And then it also showed the what we've been talking about, the real thing. Because if you had in the mix,
right,
those who normally would not have voted, then you will not have these percentages, right. So yeah.
We'll like this call.
All right.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Workers' Voice.
Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening. Good evening, brothers. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Yeah, good conversation. My brothers, I'm worried about electoral reform. I'm worried because we don't seem to have a civic component to that conversation, which I think is very important, because it's beginning to look now like, well, it's like a U.W.P thing, and it's for, that's how it's coming across, and I'm worried about that. And
Caller, you said that,
tonight.
No,
yeah.
Caller, I want to ask you one question. You said beginning song of the U.W.P thing. Be clear on that for me, please, because I know a lot of people participating in the discussion. Let's be clear on it for me a bit.
Yeah, man. I'm going to make it clear, John. I with you, I'm just, looking at the thing. What I'm saying is, like I heard you this afternoon, Thompson, on the sports program, where you talked about the difficult position of participating or not participating. But what we've been doing over all these years is we keep working on the timeline of Roosevelt Skerritt, and we keep working on the rules of Roosevelt Skerritt. After he acts, we act. And so now here we are. We're talking about a consultation that the Constitution does not give the right to have with how it's been done. A consultation that by Constitution, by law, we have right to really question and challenge, and we're not challenging. A consultation that keeps out the interest that can ensure that what you bring to the table can end up in the laws. So the consultation we plan on attending it doesn't seem to be a consultation about changing the laws, It seems to be a consultation about selling the laws that the government has already mentally approved. And so I am very worried that, well, we participate in because, well, we're worried about what the people say. But the truth of the matter is we really should be galvanizing the people to really let these people know from get-go that we are not going to stand up for any nonsense this time around. And so I don't like the idea of thinking, well, we're going to a place to go and present some documents when we really should be carrying the mass of the people to that place to make it clear that from get-go, this is not going down the same way than waiting when the law is being passed and we now disagree with the law and we're trying to mobilize people to come and make something happen. It's not going to happen. If we do not establish a posture of strength from get-go in this thing, brother, it's going to empower the government, because what they're looking at is to see if we have numbers to challenge them. That is what they're looking at. And I think there should be a greater emphasis towards making sure that more patriots, and that's why I say the U.W.P. I think even sometimes we have to just leave that aside for a minute in that electoral and call upon people in general. So I think going in there on Tuesday, as I see the party has agreed to go in there, and I understand the dilemma that Thompson mentioned, but to go in there just on this aspect of presenting without a massive outlay of people to set the message to Daru and these guys that this nonsense, we're tired of it, is not a strategy that I find the best.
Thank you very much, Lloyd. Thank you very much, Kola, for your contribution. But I want to say something clearly, not being rude and trying to, but that United Workers' Party is a political party.
That's right.
We are politicking. United Workers' Party has been involved and part and parcel of every dialogue in terms of coming together, meeting halfway with all other groups, interest groups on different issues. I've been there from 2009, and we have participated with every group on every issues. In terms of electoral reform on different issues, we have been there. Yes. You cannot go into a discussion or dialogue or calling people together and not be United Workers' Party. We have been joining everybody. United Workers' Party is a political group. How are we going to call people out and say we are not going as United Workers' Party? It doesn't make sense to me as a politician, as a member of United Workers' Party. Yes, we are part and parcel of the opposition. There are other interest groups. We all should come together. But you cannot tell me, and that is one of my challenges that I have. I'm hearing it so on the media for the past times, and there are people pushing that agenda that United Workers' Party shouldn't be there as a group.
So let us debunk that. Let me say too, while the caller may have raised a lot of salient points, it is not fair to say it appears as a United Workers' Party thing, or it is a United Workers' Party thing. We have had the tripartite organizations, CARICOM, the OAS, and the other one. CARICOM, OAS, and the Commonwealth. How it could be a United Workers' Party thing? They themselves have they are presented. Yeah. We have had the various groups that they met, that electoral reform group. They have presented a paper, it can't be a United Workers' Party thing. As a political party, and we are political interest, we are one of the stakeholders in terms of getting that forward. And by the way, caller, and just for some clarity, I can remember on Sean's program, I don't know, the blog when he was holding on for Matt, I called and I said, Sean, I hope this consultation is not merely something that the government is just going to have an open door thing and say, that is what we're going to do. I hope the consultation will take into consideration people's point of view, and particularly the stakeholders, the other stakeholders' interests, and what they would like to see happen in respect to the laws, the enactment of the laws, and the incorporation of certain aspects of what they believe that will bring a level playing field. So yes, while you are concerned about that, I'm concerned about that too. But it's not we're not going to be present just to just talk and present the paper. We are going to be present as a stakeholder and to show. And by the way, we're not going to present a United Workers' Party paper. We are going to present a paper that represents the interests of people, because we are the political party that are in contact with people. We hear what they say, we interact with them on a daily basis, and we know what they want. So we're presenting on behalf of the people. But
no, absolutely. And what I'm really proud of us as a party is the fact that our position on electoral reform is really neutral. In that sense, it's really impartial.
That's correct.
What we're presenting is what we believe and what we know is best practices elsewhere. Is based on the recommendations of the experts.
Right.
Is based on what we understand to allow for a level playing field and good participation by all the parties.
That's
so
right.
it's not something extreme. Our position is really the position that everybody, that even labor rights and independents and other persons should agree with. So when we ask for a voter ID card, for example,
that's not for us.
That is not just for us. That is something that is everybody should
accept. It's universal.
It's universal. It will remove this and mark you in the United States. If you come as an imposter, they send you to jail.
Of course,
if you impose yourself as you're somebody else, you go to jail for a long time. That's how seriously you take it. So these are the kind of things we want to do. We want to discourage people from voting as other people.
That's correct.
We want to discourage dead people for some of miraculously voting on the day of the election.
Correct.
And everybody can agree to that, right? On the issue of the residency thing, where we are talking about, you have to do it if you are, in Dominica, as against the commission selecting which city or which country to go to. That I believe is fair, and everybody can agree to it. So it's our position, I think, is one which people access the national radio station.
Yeah.
All of it is leveling the playing field, so that nobody can say at the end of the day that they were cheated or they were disenfranchised, because they will agree. They will agree to the results, and so that is where we are. And I think in terms of what the caller was saying, I think yes, we need to get more people involved. It should not be seen, and that's the other thing. It's very important. The electoral reform fight should not be seen as the United Workers' Party fight.
Right.
It's important that everybody stands up, including, and I keep going back to my Labour Party friends, including those within the Labour Party, because today you're in office, tomorrow you're not. You'll want the playing field to be level so you can get a chance to come back in with your party. And that is the way it should be.
But Doc, we could use that indicator. When 70+% of persons have not participated in an electoral process, that tells you what the people want.
Yes.
They are dissatisfied with what's going on. So they can participate.
Yes.
So that's the people's wish.
Yes.
And obviously we, as a political party, we have to be responsible. We have to represent. We represent, by the way, when we were elected as in parliament, we represent over 14,000 of the electorate, So that tells you what it is. 17,000 people voted for the United Workers' Party.
And
so
that is why important that we I am for an opposition. I'm for everybody to be there participating. But you have you can tell the Freedom Party to throw the colors on the side. Or for the party.
No, it should be the party's position.
Yeah,
it should be. That is our position on these issues.
Right, because sometimes you go into some of those activities there, organized by other groups. And sometimes when you get there, the same United Workers' Party we say to stay behind or the others. It's with that still at the forefront, because we don't want to dominate, but sometimes people fall back. And that happened on numerous occasions. So I am saying that we as a party, we welcome everybody on board. We work with everybody, and that is where we're supposed to move moving forward. When you had in 1980, you had the Alliance, you had the OJ Labour, you had PJ, and PJ Labour PJ was ousted. You had OJ was there. You also had the Freedom Party and other interest groups. Nobody asked these groups or these political parties to stay on the wayside, but everybody worked together. The nurses, all the unions worked together, the WAU, the PSU, it was CSA at that time. They all work together to ensure that they change the government and let a political party that is ready to govern the country. That's what you see happen in fledgling democracies. And then you create the opportunity, the enabling environment, the level playing field when you get there to ensure that every political party has a chance to during an election to win an election. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Workers' Voice.
To you all.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, brother.
Dr. Funky, what's up?
All right, doing well, doing well. How you doing?
Giving thanks. Is there a fella they call so
Boy, that's my partner. Hey, Brassins, man. How are you, man?
I've been seeing in a while. Mr. Sanders, blessings to you all.
Blessings
man.
to you, my brother.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Good. Yes.
My brother, whatever conspiracy, whatever secret plan, whoever is behind it, looking to hatch to dissolve U.W.P, it is criminal.
Thank you very much.
That's right.
It is a national crime against the citizens of Dominica. I brought up for years, I see Linton, the Honorable Mr. Linton, Honorable Danny Luge, Honorable Hector Spagjon, Thompson, Honorable, Thompson was a senator, but I still refer to him as Honorable Soso, your vex man. Honorable Soso.
Honorable blessings.
My brethren, when I usually call and say praises, thanks, blessings, and glory to all those who have sacrificed their personal safety and security trying to elevate mankind to humanity. Man, I look at people who have sacrificed it all, trying to enlighten Dominicans. Look at what you all are doing there. How many young people that are listening? We have tried our heart. When I say we, yes, I'm in the struggle. I'm not a member of U.W.P. I'm just a supporter. But we have tried our heart and soul to try to pull up a people. Now people trying to pull down U.W.P, which is the strongest opposition in Dominica. Sparks, how many votes? I'm going to get the not that portion that passed there.
About
16 to 17.
16,500 somewhere there.
What's that?
Almost 70,000.
17, yeah.
17, yeah.
17,
So
yes.
who are the conspirators who sitting down and saying we need to get rid of U.W.P? U.W.P is not the problem. Lennox Linton is not the problem. Thompson Fountain is not the problem. I am saying leadership needs to be effective. So what I say about Dr. Fountain yesterday, all who call me and say what they want, who call me and say I was right, who say I was wrong, it doesn't matter to me.
That's right.
What I am saying, gentlemen, the message are not reaching the relevant people to cause the damage. My brother, we need to have a new approach. You use a CO, you use marijuana, you use alcohol, whatever, whoever can get money, if it's from money launderers, I don't know. That's the only way of blood. Is blood or some money launderer money somewhere we can use to match that onslaught. That electoral reform, my brother, that man, even if all you go, my brother, in closing, they are not, even if Dr. Andre and all who that come with all the great alternative suggestions on how we should move about in comparison to Byron, Cat, Lita, the garbage. They're going to implement it because all this man wants to do is to remain there indefinitely. The man say he want to be there for 2050. He make mention of his son Dimitri. That means that is his successor. In 2050, Dimitri, he don't want to let go the grip he have on Dominica. So I am just saying, my brother, it takes more in closing than coming there on Thursday evenings and talk all the great ideas. I'm listening to it for the future of the people, particularly the young. It's either blood, remember that, or millions of dollars that is going to get rid of those criminals that sit down there. Thank you.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you very much for your contribution. Another call coming in. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Workers' Voice.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening,
Good
sir.
evening.
Yeah. I would like you, gentlemen, to explain to the public, especially the youth and the young adults, when the Prime Minister decides to call an election, dissolve the House and call an election, what process he has to go to, whom he has to see to tell them that he has decided to call an election. I would like you to explain that. I'm listening.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much, caller. I mean, according to our current constitution, it has to be the president. You know, he has to inform the president, and the president's the one who has to issue the elections writ. He is the one who has to inform the public that the government basically has been suspended and set the date, and that the date for elections has been set.
That's correct.
Okay. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Workers' Voice.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
How are you doing?
Doing fine, doing
Very
fine.
good, very
All
good.
is well?
Yes, sir.
No.
Good evening to the panel, all gentlemen.
Good evening, sir.
And to you, sir.
Do we have any factories in Dominica?
Any factories?
Yeah.
We have, I think DCP is doing something now. Yes.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
No factory for the college students to learn to assemble vehicles together or to,
Yeah. So
or
nice
to,
one.
learn, to learn some skills. We had this thing up in the college where you could go and learn skills to fix vehicles and
Vehicles,
everything. All
yeah.
those things disappear.
Right,
Yes,
right.
yes. The skills training
We
has,
only have NEP to cut grass.
yeah, Ali Kupezeb.
Halikubizeb.
This is the. I know when you leave your country and you go to a foreign country, whatever work you get, you will take.
Right.
But for your country people to be doing those works and foreigners coming there and have the better part of the cake,
Yeah,
something else.
yeah.
We in Dominica, we have to. The government love us so much that we have to go cutting grass around, and we don't have no factories to learn, no skills, nothing. We leave college, either we leave Dominica or we go and cut grass. And he said that he loves his people a lot. The botanical garden is going down right now. Farming is going down. Once the botanical garden finish, the farming finish. Because we don't have nowhere teaching us how to handle the farming, where to buy our plants, unless we have one to the Kupamali, we're making plants so we can buy from them now.
Yeah.
We in the country and we just talking, and as we talking, so Dominica going down.
All right.
We need to wake up and teach these people a lesson. As far as I see, this man is like a mother rabbit that have about 12, 15 little ones, and all he do is raise them and kill them and go back and get pregnant again and make more. Dominica becomes this man one that he can just get rid of people how he wants and go back and get a new set.
Okay, caller. Thank you very much for your contribution.
Welcome.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Workers' Voice.
Finally, and brief. Let us contrast and compare that criminal that passes for Prime Minister with Honorable Lennox Linton, Hector Sparks John, Edison James, Lee Blanc, Patrick John, and all the others that have made great sacrifices and done great things for Dominica. Look at how that man is single-handedly destroying Dominica and get foreigners to help him to destroy Dominica. But Dominicans are worshipping the man. The problem is not the leaders, it's how effective the leaders is going to be to get to a people that seems to be in a trance. They're either asleep or awake, or they are zombified, or they're bewitched. How can you? And 2 years I supported Lennox Linton tooth and nail. I say he maybe can't make the grade. Maybe it's time for a change and somebody might do the trick. The trick is not working. It is not working. How can you, Lennox Linton or Thompson Fountain or anybody else, can never be as nasty and criminally minded as the criminals that are there? And Dominicans are worshipping them. The problem is not Linton. And I will say it again, the problem is not Thompson. The problem is not Sparks. He's a very creative and innovative move that has to happen. And I think it's fire, you have to fight with fire, not necessarily fighting and killing and dying, but money or blood. And I will say it again because that's what that man wants to do, shed blood in Dominica. One man wants everybody to die to save him, but he's not looking to die to save a whole country. So gentlemen, one of them putting fire on all you. Wait, I want to look all you up. I want all your feet to be to the fire. Because this fight is not for the faint-hearted. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Thank you,
caller.
brother.
Yeah. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Workers' Voice. Hello, are you listening? No, that person is not there with us. Gentlemen, somebody made a point about the botanic gardens, and I want to raise that concern as well. Let me just take a few calls there. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Workers' Voice. This one, yeah.
This one.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Workers' Voice.
Good evening, gentlemen. How you guys doing?
Good evening, sir.
You guys are all brilliant minds on the panel right there. I have a question, though. If every institution has been compromised, what do you do?
Can you please repeat?
If every institution has been compromised, what do we do?
Oh, I see.
Okay, go ahead.
I didn't hear
Yes,
that
sir.
one.
Continue, caller.
You left.
No, that's my question, though. What you guys are trying to play fair. I know you guys can't say, but I'll say it for you. The only way out is for the people to fight. That's the only way out. By any means necessary. Can't play fair.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen. Have a good evening.
Thank you, sir.
Same to you. We will say, some of us will say it, caller. I know some of us will say it, people like me. But I just want to bring that botanic garden into perspective. I started playing youth cricket for Dominica on trials in 1988. And that's where we had youth trials under 19 cricket at the Garners. I was a teenager. And that was one of the most picturesque part of Dominica. I enjoyed the Garners. Jack's work. Geoff Austin was our physical trainer at that time. So we had to go run for the Garners, run up by the cross up in Montrose and run down Jack's Walk at the back. So I knew Garners inside out. Nice place. And all of a sudden, they were well respected. No football, it's just cricket alone. You could play in the cricket field. No activities on the grass. No vehicles really passing in Garners. Or if you have to drive in Garners, you have to pass there for a certain time. No, Garners is the highway. And you're telling me no, that we're going to allow Roosevelt's carried to put a water park and destroy. They have destroyed the entire area where you would do plant propagation at the back. So all the greenhouses is they mash up. They lock them down. Nothing has been done. I know Cardi had an office there, and some other people had offices, or ICA had offices in Ghana, and they closed them down. And we are going to allow Roosevelt's carried to took all the boards after the hurricane, all the boards that fell there. You know who cut the boards inside there? Just find out. Joseph Isaac was one of them. Taking the wood that fell in the Garners and he cut all the boards and maybe, I don't know what he did with them. I knew that for sure. But you're telling me now, you have Roosevelt's carrot and Melissa going to destroy the botanical gardens and we're going to sit there and allow it to happen. I'm asking Dominicans, are you going to allow Roosevelt's carrot and Melissa's carrot, Popon's carrot, destroyed the botanic gardens and we're doing nothing about it? They're destroying Wesley, an entire village, and we're doing nothing about it. They destroyed the People's Park. The People's Park was one of the only green space you had in Roseau, where you could just leave all the horse and bus and just run across there and just chill out in the People's Park. They put a playground there, and now she's building a toilet on the small People's Park. And we're saying nothing and doing nothing about it. Are we going to allow that to continue? And I am in support of some of the callers. You have to fight fire with fire. A man cannot be bitching you on one side and tilted in the other cheek, breaking your jawbone and tilted in the other cheek.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
If the government was to conduct a survey right now,
Yeah.
with respect to utilizing the gardens in whatever we hearing about, because I haven't seen any document with respect to what they're going to do. If the gardens is sold, if it is going to be sold or what. But if the government was to conduct a survey right now, they would get a resounding no to that kind of proposal or selling the gardens to a private entity. But here's my point. More and more, and every day I pass through the gardens, and I can see Dominicans appreciating the ambience of the gardens. That means Dominicans, they do picnic in the gardens. They go sometimes, they hold their birthday parties. It is a nice area right now when people get married for weddings, people take pictures and so. And Dominicans are actually, enjoying nature in the gardens. I've had my own reservations of how I would like to see the gardens in terms of how they should carry out the development in the gardens. I believe personally, after much devastation over a period of time with so many storms and hurricanes and so, the gardens has lost some of its useful environment in terms of you have more sun now than shade. And personally, I believe we should sort of ruralize the gardens. The gardens need more trees than as opposed to more sunlight. And so if what I'm seeing with respect to Dominicans now, taking pride in enjoying what we have, what they believe is good for them to rest them and to relax and to have family fun day in the gardens, I believe the government is on a big mistake and they're going to get a strict and harsh opposition towards any development that is not going to go down well with the people. And I say so because I'm seeing what Dominicans are doing and utilizing their time to use up the gardens, to have their little reflections and to have their little social gatherings. So I will say, Mr. Government, you need to have a serious consultation with the people with respect to going forward. I know already the answer to that. You are not just going to do what you want with the Botanic Gardens. The Botanic Gardens, we have seen it gone. It has done its due. The gardens have always opposed to the gardens having some of the propagation plants. It should be really an area for relaxation strictly. But the point is, we have had the chemist produce lab. We've had the propagation areas and they were doing very well. They have the molecular lab there sometimes. They close the office, they just put a sign stating that they no longer function down there. They are functioning at the old DBMC building. An asset the farmers work very hard for. Today, the government find that's where they want to go. Okay, fair. But Mr. Government, it is not going to be tolerated that the gardens is just going to be done to be used for anything. Dominicans need to enjoy. That's the only place right now around Roseau and environs that it is conducive for relaxation, and you really need to think this thing hard before selling out that gardens because it's not going to go down very well.
But I'm not just Doc, before I come in, I just want to say I want to respectfully disagree with you. So I do not want any consultation about the gardens. There should be no consultation about having any or selling the gardens to anybody.
Consultation don't mean. Let me tell you something. When I say consultation, let me clear the air on that.
Okay.
It's not a consultation giving endorsement to the sale of the gardens. It's a serious consultation if Dominicans let Dominicans have their opinion, and I know already they will not go for the sale of the gardens. But I'm saying that is what government is there for. Government, with the decision that they want to make, they have to make sure that they consult with the people, and I can tell you already what I'm hearing there, and if it is rumored that the garden is going to be sold, that's already no by Dominicans already. I get that sense on the ground already. So I wasn't saying a consultation to endorse the sale. Yeah. I'm saying a consultation to just remind the government that they are going to get a resounding no for their intention.
But yes. Roosevelt Skerritt has been there for 19 years as prime minister. He has not consulted with anybody on anything. Which are they going to consult with anybody right now? Even the electoral reform we're talking about there. Have we heard the consultant or the person in charge that Roosevelt Skerritt put as in charge of electoral reform? Kenneth Darrow. Have we heard Kenneth Darrow on any aspect of electoral reform since he was appointed? No. These guys they give them positions to make the money, and we just sit there every time and just say we're going to do things, we carry them out the same way. It is not working. It will not work. And we have to begin, as Dominicans, we have to begin to put our foot on the ground, put our feet to the wheel, and force them guys to do what we want them to do for our country. If we not do that, if we say we're going to consult with Roosevelt, see what we're doing for electoral reform. See how long he got a report from Dennis Byron he have been dragging.
Look, okay, let's go to
Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Workers' Voice.
Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The house is on fire. The house is on fire.
It has to be on fire.
We're getting some feedback from your device in your home.
We can agree to disagree, cordially.
Okay. Let me tell you now. I mean, I'm not sure exactly as to whether Dominicans are listening to what is happening, or what is taking place in Dominica by this government. I'm not sure as to whether they're concerned about it. But I want to refer here to the private sector, whom I believe is the biggest contributor to the public's purse. Would you agree with me? They would have to be.
Yes.
Because they pay several taxes. And the private sector is silent on on those matters. You know, I think something has to be done. Something has to be done to pinch those guys, well, guys and girls, because we have a lot of women who own their own private business in private sector. But something has to be done in the private sector. People, I am calling on you all to express your concern about what is happening in Dominica. Please, GAIC and DF, Dominican Employees Federation, please. Now we have gardens closed down, and they will flood the gardens, do it doing the plants and everything like that and so on. Now, when they ship them down to the old to DBNC building, can they exercise that type of employment down there? No. So these are people who will obviously go home and wondering what are they going to do. But let me tell you something. Skerry is scared of losing power because he knows his donkey is going to be in grass. Thank you.
Good evening. Welcome to the Workers' Voice.
Good evening, gentlemen. How you all doing? Night, all right?
Hey, how are you?
Gardens, botanical gardens. Oh my God, botanical gardens.
Botanical
my
gardens.
My playground, my everything. No. Consultation? For what? To do what? Rumor in the air saying that's going to happen. You never consulted. If anybody, people are here in power in the air, and there's no smoke without fire. Consultation for what? The only consultation is with Dominicans. The time person put down our foot and stand up, stop by your stupidity and make him know Dominicans fed up with his BS. That is what we have to do. Joseph Isaac, after Hurricane Maria, said he would be planting a million trees as Minister of Resilience. That is because of million
No, he carry all the boats in Pocassi. All the boats from the Ghanaians, he carry them to Pocassi.
Or maybe they hit on the million trees because he said you could plant a million trees. Because I know that for sure. When I went in the botanical garden, said compost, the young man told me, the Minister for Resilience. He could do planting a million trees and they can give me the compost to me. The whole is for the Minister of Resilience to plant a million trees.
Grass seed, ladies and fellas, put down. Grass. That's why MEP have looked for grass.
The botanical garden since after Hurricane David. I think no government never take real pride in the botanical gardens as we planting back a lot of trees.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's what they're making in the gardens.
That's correct.
Trees making wood and in the gardens. And when I spoke to a worker there, he told me, but not to say that now, you know what can happen. And but look at that, look at the trees. All the trees in the botanical gardens, wood and taking them over and killing them. I told them a worker there that a couple of years ago. He told me, please don't look on the radio to mention that. I feel kind of sorry for him because that's his job and that's where he working. So maybe know who I talking about.
No need no one.
Yeah, you see, some always insisting about taking place in the botanical garden. The botanical garden has some big fish pond with pile of pears in it and beautiful lilies.
That's correct.
At the back,
In the 70s. Right? All the way went down at the back there. That's why they had that big chemist lab. Yeah, that lady between her ground work like taking care of oil and so forth. Therefore, Barry Bell and White. That's where they started working.
The produce chemist lab, yes. Mm-hmm.
In the botanical gardens, I know. I don't tell you what I don't. I tell you what I know. When all at the back of the botanical gardens, every garden of paradise, garden of Eden, every damn fruit you could think of in Dominica, it was at the back of the botanical gardens.
Yep.
Big shot of tangerine, mandarin, all different kind of mangoes. We had a little product thing, a fruit from the tree there. We used to call it soap. If you your hand there, you just pick that little finger that you got glue. You rub it on your hand and you wet it and wrap your hand with that soap at the back of the botanical gardens by Jack Soak area there. So there was a paradise to us since after David. Nobody never really did anything there.
Right.
So we can't let botanical gardens go not a hell in the on the yes, Dominica. Which country in the Caribbean and the world a government would think of the nothing, sir?
Right.
What? Which country?
All right.
To destroy that? Oh no, Dominica. Wake up. If we have to stand up for anything, that one we have to stand up for it. Bye bye.
All right. Thank you very much, caller. I'll be front and center with
Thank
that one
you.
for sure. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Workers' Voice.
Hello, good evening.
Good
Good evening, sir.
Dr. Thompson Fountain.
Yes, sir.
As long as Mr. Skerritt is calling the shots for the external reform, we will not get through. We need to take the control of that part. Once Skerritt is part of it, once he's the head of it, he's going to do everything just for himself. We need to start hitting the road. Let us wind up our crew and hit the road with our placard and everything, and let's make a difference in Dominica, please. Wind up the crew.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
caller.
yes, caller. In fact, in that regard, on the 23rd of this month, which is basically two Wednesdays from now, we will be having a major march around Roseau to again raise those same issues: electoral reform, unemployment, all of the major issues, pressing issues, the gardens issue. So now is a chance for Dominicans to show their intent and then to show that they care about this country. And let me just say this: the fact that we're having those conversations about these types of decisions that seems everybody just cannot believe that is even happening. The fact that we're having those decisions comes back to what we've been talking about from the very beginning. The fact that the government knows that they can do whatever they wish because they're not going to be held accountable, because they can manipulate the elections. And even people who would normally speak, a caller a while ago talked about the private sector. The private sector will not step out. They will not speak out because they know that tomorrow, even if they speak out, this government is going to steal the elections again. They're going to come back into office and they're going to penalize them. So they're no longer going to get any kind of business with the government. They're not going to do this. And that's the kind of fear we're living under. And that is why it is so critical, this electoral reform issue, and getting this level playing field. We're not saying that that's going to take care of all our problems, because even with electoral reforms, as a party, we still need to go out there. We still need to let the people know of our plans. We still need to do the house to house. We still need to do the one-on-ones. We still need to go to the different hamlets and the communities. We have to do all of that. We understand that. But a critical part of all of that is having electoral reform, having a level playing field. And that's the reason why every means possible that we can continue to put forward what we want. And that's very important, because at the end of the day, there is a process. The way this thing is supposed to work is that you're going to have legislation. This legislation is going to go through Parliament. So Parliament will have to decide. Now we know, given the way the Parliament is constituted, whatever ends up in front of Parliament, that is what is going to be. Okay, so that's the reason why we need to be able to influence whatever it is that is going to go before Parliament, because we do not want legislation to go to Parliament that is not creating the level playing field. And that is where we need to draw the line. Whatever goes before Parliament must be clear. It must give us the voter ID cards. It must give us the residency issue and the re-registration, a clean list, access to the radio stations, all of those things that we've been asking for, the campaign finance reforms that we've been asking for. Those are the things that needs to go before the Parliament. And that is where that's where we need to place particular focus. Okay, but for now, the battle has to be to get this legislation right, so that whatever goes before Parliament is what the people of Dominica wants.
Okay, thank you very much. You're listening to the Workers' Voice. In studios with Mr. Glenn Rice, also Coffee, and our political leader, Dr. Thompson Fontaine. And those of you listening to us on Q95 FM radio on Facebook, I just want to say good evening to you. And I know that you're making comments in the comments area of our discussion tonight, and it's getting heated as well. But we're just gonna cool it down for a little minute, and then we'll get back with the discussion, and we'll take a little piece of Checo's reform song.
Dominicans, we need our election.
No, understand it. Understand.
It's coming through. Just give it some volume on this. It's coming through.
Just cross the waste like that. Dominicans pay their money. You should perform your duty.
Yeah, it's
How
not.
long before we get our reform? We have some elections in the interest of one man. But like Egypt, the people need freedom. If you cannot deliver, then give us back our dollars, sir. Stay in your lane. We know you know our country, love to spend the money, sir. Stay in your lane. The people frustrated and tired. Dominicans have taken all they can take. Give us reform before the fall house break. The people know of Woolworth's Brigade. May 29 and blood that was shed. So if you don't deliver for what we pay, Guy Pool Dominicans, why, Dominicans. We need to fight for what we believe. Enough talking, time for action. We need reform, we need our voters card. The people pressurizing, yes, they're ready for action. How long before we get our reform? If we vote without voters ID, we could vote for a dead family. And before ballot done count, landslide victory. The election legacy concerns everybody, sir. Stay in your lane. We hear you write a report to Annie Valdesot, boy. Stay in your lane. The people frustrated and tired. Dominicans have taken all they can take. Give us reform before reform we take. The people know of Woolworth's Brigade. May 29 and blood that was shed. So if you don't deliver for what we pay, Guy Pool was whoa, nana, whoa. Stop you studying your magic, you can fool everybody, sir. Stay in your lane. We need the registration for free and fair elections, sir. Stay in your lane. The people reject your reports of Byron. Dominicans know the difference between right and wrong. Give us reform before next election. The people ready to take a stand to make this country a democratic one. Dominicans want the reform for what they pay. Oh, Guy Pool
Electoral reform is essential, fundamental, absolutely necessary, the basis for democracy.
If you cannot deliver, then give us back our dollars, sir. Stay in your lane. We know you know our country, love to spend big money, sir. Stay in your lane. The people frustrated and tired. Dominicans have taken all they can take. Give us reform before the foul house break. The people know of who was brigade. May 29 and blood that was shed. So if you don't deliver for what we pay, die fool was
should not take them lightly. We need the structure of the democracy.
Yes. Sorry, to exercise the franchise and become my mic on, but I didn't have my volume up. I was saying that we would like that song from Checo is our theme song, should be our theme song going into electoral reform to ensure we have reform and we can discuss these issues of national importance effectively, get the message out there that so every political party, none will be disenfranchised, no matter what party you are. If you're an independent individual and you want to run for political office in Dominica, you have the opportunity to be part and parcel of that process. And you want to exercise your franchise by voting for any political party, you'll have that opportunity to do so in a proper way. But we don't want to ensure that Dominica has that foundation set in Parliament, and that's why we are pushing for electoral reform. Gentlemen, we have discussed a lot of different issues there tonight. Is there anything that you all would like to touch that we maybe missed out on, or we, Dr. Fountain, Mr. Coffee, anything you'd like to touch on? Because it's already 11 to 10. So anything that you'd like to touch on, you think that, in a while, I'll read a few WhatsApp messages as well as we go forward.
You would like to take these WhatsApp messages? Yeah, but one thing do I say, the mere fact that the Electoral Commission is not taking center stage with respect to the consultation is a very big concern to me, in my opinion.
Right.
And I believe that Dr. Daru being placed as the coordinator of that, and we go now to speak to people, it's already starting to put a bad taste in the mouth for the people. And it is left to be seen, but I believe the Electoral Reform and the Electoral Commission should really be the center of that consultation. They should be the driving force behind it. I think it would give people more confidence that something right is going to be done, and the recommendations made from the consultation would be taken on board with respect to being part of the legislation. So I have some concerns about that Daru being coordinator and be the center of that, leading the. But I think it is left to be seen. But I hope that already too early it is not politicized in any imbalanced way. Yeah.
WhatsApp message, Doc. Good night, bro. While we are saying, if not passport, then what? Antigua buys our plantain and ships containers of plantain chips to Sweden. I just want to reinforce what Suso was saying. Let's take this quick call and get back to Dr. Fountain. Okay, Dr. Fountain, go ahead.
You know, I mean, why are we spending so much time on those issues? We spend time on the NEP, on electoral reform, on the issue of the gardens, just all of those pointing to really bad governance decisions. You know, the way the government deals with its young people, this kind of almost sapoufé kind of attitude, don't care attitude, you know, and all of it is really linked to the fact that we do not have electoral reform, we do not have a level playing field, and the government is almost guaranteeing itself a victory every time at the polls. So we understand that to break that, it will be difficult for this government to, on its own, do what is right. And that's why we as a people, we need to continue to push for what is right. We need to continue to agitate for what is right. Because at the end of the day, what we want is to preserve the democracy in Dominica. We want to preserve a system that people feel that they're not they're not coerced, they're not forced into voting for one party or the other. And so it's very important for all of us to really take up that fight. And tonight, my concern really is about the future of Dominica. My concern is really about the young people. We talked earlier about the fact that the young people seem to be not interested in things and issues that matter to them and has an impact on their own lives. And that is very concerning, and so for me, as we wind down our discussion tonight, it's all about the future of Dominica. It's all about what kind of future we want for ourselves, our children, our children's children, and down the generations. It's all about preserving our legacy in Dominica, a country that was going places, a country, if we go back to our history, had the first representative government in all of the Caribbean islands, in the late 1700s. Dominica had its first assembly of Black people, colored people at least, a country that was always first in everything. And suddenly we find ourselves struggling, for last place because of bad governance. And so we really need a change. And that's what it boils down to, really. That, I think we have, scarred fatigue. People are fed up. This constant, fighting, this constant discussion around missing money, passport sales going up in the hands of criminals. Every day we get the bad news that some other criminal is seeing Dominica passport. We've been looked upon as a rogue state. People are looking at Dominica and saying, what is this? What is this country all about? What are these people all about? I'm going to think about it. St. Kitts has the same program like Dominica. St. Lucia has the same program like Dominica. Grenada has the same program like Dominica. Yet the United Kingdom passes sanctions or visa restrictions only on Dominica. So that means we are rogue. We have gone rogue a long time. And people are saying, but what is wrong with this country? This is a country of 60,000 people. What is wrong with us? And so, I think Dominicans, those of us who still have our consciences, those of us who still love our country, those of us who still care about the future of our country, it is up to us to stand up. It is up to us to stand up, to this government, stand up for electoral reform, stand up for good governance, stand up for the preservation of the botanical gardens, the heritage that we have, to stand up for the young people, to demand more for our young people. And even if our young people are occupied, they're looking elsewhere, but they will thank us for it because we care about the future. We care deeply. The United Workers' Party cares deeply about the young people of Dominica. And we need them to understand that. And every chance, every chance that I get to talk to a young person is to remind them that we as a party, we care about them. We care about their future. We care about their ability to make a decent living. We care about the ability to be able to find work in this country. We care about the ability to be first-class citizens in the country, not to be sitting on the roadside and seeing foreigners come in and take away their jobs. That would never, ever happen under a United Workers' Party government, where foreigners would come in and be back operators, or be ordinary workers. That would never ever happen on the United Workers' Party government. To have our truckers sit on the trucks, or have the trucks sit idle, and have dump trucks coming into our country to do work that our truckers can do. That would never ever happen under a United Workers' Party government. And that is what we need to remind the people about. So these are very real choices that we make when we go to the polls. These are very real choices, because the choice you make and the choices that you've made in the past is where we are today. That our people are sitting on the roadside, that the government, the best thing a government can think about in an age where marijuana that grows as if it were, that grows so easily in Dominica, that the best thing the government could come up with, is to have people plant free trees and to have our young people smoking. Whereas countries are making billions from medicinal marijuana and everything else that this crop offers. These are very real decisions, but it shows we have a government that is not thinking, a government that is lazy, government that has looked for the easy way out. And that's what the passport money really is. It's easy money. You don't have to think. You don't have to think because somebody else is printing the passport for you. Somebody else is selling the passport for you. You may or may not get the $100,000. You don't really care because what you get is probably enough. You can pack whatever you want. So this government has not been challenged. This government has not been able to think on its own. And when they were faced with mounting youth unemployment, which is what we pointed out in the 2014 election, mounting youth unemployment, we came with a plan, 5,000 jobs in 3 years. 5,000 jobs in 3 years, a solid plan that was well thought out. We gave the details of those plans. The government, unthinking government reduced really in their mindset, not having the skill set, not having the ability to think, coming up with the NEP, telling our young people, Ali Platizeb.
And yes.
And I mean, it's it is really discouraging for me as a Dominican who got so much opportunity. When I got opportunity to go and study, nobody asked who my father voted for. It was not a Labour Party government then. My father had run election for the Labour Party. So imagine if at that time they'd said, okay, well, let's see. It was the Dominican Freedom Party, and they had said, oh, let's see who your father voted for.
Right.
I would not have gotten an opportunity, because my mother would not have been able to sell enough rough cake to send you to university.
Yeah.
So you have that situation, but that's what we have today.
No, but you applied yourself as well too, though. You applied yourself. That is why you reach where you are. So
absolutely, but the opportunity was given. But I'm saying that when you compare that behavior of the government, I mean, look at the number of persons that the Workers' Party educated in Cuba and sent overseas to study and so on, and not asking who they belong to, what was their persuasion. Building a prime schools in labor stronghold of Grand Bay. Knowing that Grand Bay people were not supporting your party, but yet you put a school there because that was the right thing to do. These are the kinds of things and behaviors that we had as a party that we've not seen now. So now everything is around who you support. If you're not supporting the party, people are afraid. They're supporting the government, and it's just a vicious cycle that we need to break. I mean, to break this quickly because our country is going down the drain. And as a caller said earlier, they're talking, even as we talking, the country going down, country's lying.
No, and you're correct. And just as we winding on the clock, someone spoke to me about an opportunity. That person got to apply to a place, and everything was all right. CV, curriculum, in. And, interestingly, they said, well, you look well so far, your experience, your qualification, but you're missing one thing. And it appears that would have been the only criterion. So the criteria is out now. So the only criterion, you're missing a letter from your parent. You see how we come?
Yes.
But let me just say, too, anything for the development of Dominican for it. We heard about the Canadian American University that's supposed to be opening in September. I'm hearing that possibility is not there. We may not even get an opening. In fact, if we had a school opening in September, right now, we should have a big press conference to the people coming down.
But I hear they have a white coat ceremony. I don't know.
Well, I don't know, but I mean, of a possible January semester. I hope it starts so that the people are possible get some benefit. But I'm also hearing too, it wasn't a big thing where they're going to start with 2,000, 1,000 students. It's about 50 students in the initial stage and going forward. Now I'm hearing it may have cut down to about half the amount. But I just wish things happen, but the government put it in the budget, letting people think as if things going to work, and that cannot work. But let me say too, that we have pride ourselves on developing this country as a united front. And so we carry certain principles with us. One of such principles is the inclusiveness. We said, look, we are party of inclusion and we want to include everybody. We're talking about looking for equity for people, our people. We need to make sure that our people get a fair share of everything. And we need to be accountable, and we need to respect the rule of law. So as a party, we are asking Dominicans that we are still the true and viable alternative to govern this country and to bring respect to you, to bring economic recovery to this country. We have the talent within us, and with you, the people helping us, we can get it done. So I'm saying, Dominicans, all is not lost. We have this rogue government we must take out. This government, let the wind blow. This government must go so that Dominica can grow. We know that for sure. That is established. But you have to make it possible for that to happen. And so, people, we are asking you to wake up. We are not going to do it ourselves. We cannot do it ourselves. We're looking at a collective front. So when we call you out, you should hit the call, participate, and let us get done with our country's business. We cannot for 23 years now under that misery where you still don't have a choice, where you still applying for a job and you still need a letter from your parrep. What parrep know what your experience and your qualification? Some of you who are applying for jobs are even better qualified than some of the parreps, but a parrep has to endorse you getting a job. Dominicans, that is not enough. And we have heard the leader. We have said enough. The talking to me, yes, and I would say, Mr. James, thanks for that again. You have always said it is better to Georgia than to war. But, there are sometimes in our lives, we don't know how much we can take. But this government mustn't underestimate the people, because if we were saying, but ready people, all you think ready people will best on all you know where they come out. There's a pressure building up. And I can tell you, all you don't want to face that pressure. Pressure hose, when that bursts, when water bursts pipe, you know what disaster it can cause? I can tell you, feel good. Play as if all you are untouchable. I can tell you a rude awakening awaits everyone who thinks he or she is a champion and is untouchable. Let me just say, Dominicans, good night. Thanks to everyone who have participated. It's a pleasure to be in the company of such great men. Honorable leader, I want to respect you for the work that you do around the world. And Dominica needs some of that expertise so that we can get going with our business. Sparks, thanks for the invite. And for everyone who participated and called, we have to do it together. Have a good night to everyone. Sparks, someone is burying tomorrow. If you can make that announcement that Yulina?
Yes.
Iluna Esprit.
Toussaint. From Campbell.
From Campbell. She's burying at Pastor Rodney's church.
I just want to extend sympathies to
Grace Fellowship. Grace.
Yeah, the Vidal's family in Salisbury. Irma Lafont. She used to be in Tukari, but she's from Salisbury. She died. It looks like she died today. It doesn't extend sympathies to Rafael and all the others of Irma Lafont, Malaysia of Tukari. I know as my Oma from Tukari area, but she's originally from Salisbury. But let us read as we leave. So your phone, I think. As we leave, let's read a WhatsApp message from one of our distinguished gentlemen, Mr. Ron Green. How are you doing? Good evening, sir. So is right. Any movement forward, no demand it be in the hands of a newly formed, independent, robust, high-quality electoral reform commission, meaning best practices internationally, not on Skerritt's hands or government hands. All the proposals should be in the hands of the electoral commission. People like maybe you have Byron and Andre Johnson. All the recommendations that they made should be in the hands of the electoral commission and not in the hands of Roosevelt as Skerritt. Just want to thank Dr. Thompson Fontaine, our political leader, and Mr. Glenroy Coffey for joining us here in studios and discussing some of these pertinent issues. We hope that the youth discussion, panel discussion is ongoing. I don't know if it's maybe ended by now, that you had more young people join in the discussion and participate fully in the post-budget youth panel discussion organized by the National Youth Council of Dominica. We want young people to participate. We have a lot of activities coming on the weekend, breakfast fete and other activities, fete Penville and whatnot. Just want young people or people out there to be safe on the road. Don't drink and drive. And if you're driving, don't drink. And if you're going as a group, get a designated driver, one person that can drive you from one point to the other and not get themselves in any accident. You just want everybody to.
Yeah, I really want to congratulate Asa for that tourism product, because not only that breakfast fete is just Dominica oriented. People come from the French Antilles, some of that from Saint Martin and the region. So the work that is doing, we need to support it.
Yeah, and encourage it. So
that's very good.
Just want everybody to, if you're going on to Grand before the weekend, make sure that you're safe on the weekend and participate in breakfast fete. Just want so everybody to have a wonderful weekend. And as we always say, find a place of worship on the weekend to thank God for seeing you through this week, and also to thank Him or ask Him for His guidance into the next week. Have a wonderful weekend. It will be in Grand Fond
Saturday 7 o'clock.
Yep.
All right. So all those who can join us, we inviting you to please make the voyage up to Grand Four. Yes, at 7 o'clock. All right. So we're looking forward to seeing all of you. You are invited. The people of Grand Four waiting to welcome you. So from wherever, all over Dominica, wherever you're able to join us from, come and see us in Grand Four on Saturday. We'll be waiting for you. Thank you. And to Dominica, have a great night, and let's not grow weary. Let's continue the fight. The fight is ours, to continue. After all, the future of Dominica is what's at stake, and we cannot go to sleep. We cannot. I like this song that says, wake up, don't sleep. We cannot fall asleep, Dominica. Let's continue to fight.
Thank you very much. Good evening. Have a wonderful weekend, each and every one of you. God bless you. See you next week, Thursday, same time here on Q95 for the Workers' Voice.
Mom, I wanted to play football with him.
And she defied those expectations in some unexpected ways. At 17, she married a man in the military, which gave her access to a dangerous and exciting new passion. Sneaking onto planes dressed in her husband's uniform, she risked it all to develop her skills, eventually joining the army herself and making it into the Crazy Birds, the military parachuting display team.
It was something that was born within me and came from my soul, because I discovered my passion for skydiving, and I became so passionate that I always wanted to be the best and do more and more and more. I even have a record that no one has broken yet. But I remember that my dad used to say, now, kiddo, you've experienced championships, military jumps, and free jumps. Please take care of yourself. I can't sleep for